Good evening. Is Easter a holiday or a holy day? Easter Sunday is celebrated by millions every year, and all over this town this coming Sunday morning, many of the congregations will probably be larger than they typically are. So some people seem to only display their belief on the dates that the world told them that Jesus was born and the date that the world told them that he arose. Since this Sunday is the day that many remember Jesus' resurrection, they consider it to be the holiest day of the year, followed closely, of course, by Christmas. When the New Testament is studied and examined, we can't find where the first century Christians observed Jesus' resurrection as a yearly event, the same as how they didn't observe the anniversary of his birth either. Easter is found one time in one biblical translation. Acts 12, verse 4 in the King James Version says, "And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people." Now, the American Standard Version says Passover instead of Easter. And by the way, I didn't know what a quaternion was, and I Googled that one. It's 4 soldiers, so the 4 quaternions had up to 16 soldiers in all just to guard Peter, the apostle that this verse is concerned with. The one word I didn't think I had to look up, though, was Easter, because I've been hearing that one all my life. You know what? I had to look it up. I didn't have any idea what Easter actually was or what it means. Easter is the modern day word for an Anglo-Saxon name for Istra, a Germanic goddess of spring and fertility. A whole month was dedicated to her, and it corresponds to our modern day April. Her festival was celebrated on the vernal equinox, which is when there is an equal amount of light and darkness. Other customs we have today actually came from pagan origins. The rabbit was considered sacred to the goddess, since rabbits are famous for their procreation, making them the symbol of fertility. Eggs were given by ancient Egyptians and Romans as a wish for a fertile and productive year. Now, getting back to why Easter ended up in the King James Version, in that only one verse, the Greek word was Pascha, and it means Passover. There are 28 more places in the King James Version that Pascha is correctly translated as Passover. Then why did it become Easter in just one verse? I read one argument that it was done to give the reader a better idea of what time of year Peter's imprisonment was. We need to go back to verse 1 of chapter 12 of Acts in the King James Version and read through verse 4 again. "Now about that time Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with a sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people." Now, according to the explanation or argument that I'm quoting from, Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread is explained in Exodus 12, verses 1 through 17. These I'm going to read to you from the American Standard Version. "And Jehovah spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to their fathers' houses, a lamb for a household. And if the household be too little for a lamb, then shall he and his neighbor next unto his house take one according to the number of the souls. According to every man's eating ye shall make your count, for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male a year old. Ye shall take it from the sheep or from the goats, and ye shall keep it until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it at even. And they shall take of the blood and put it on the two side posts and upon the lintel, upon the houses wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread. With bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor boil it all with water, but roast with fire, its head and its legs and its inwards thereof. And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, but that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire. And thus shall you eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand. And ye shall eat it in haste. It is Jehovah's Passover. For I will go through the land of Egypt in that night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, both man and beast. And against all the gods of Egypt I will execute judgments. I am Jehovah. And the blood shall be to you for a token upon the houses where ye are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and there shall no plague be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Jehovah. Throughout your generations ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Even the first day ye shall put away leaven out of your houses. For whosoever eateth leavened bread from the first day until the 7th day, that soul shall be cut off from Israel. And in the first day there shall be to you a holy convocation, and in the 7th day a holy convocation. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done by you. And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your hosts out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe this day throughout your generations by an ordinance forever. We see that the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread are two adjoining yet separate times. In Leviticus chapter 23, verses 5 and 6, in the first month, on the 14th day of the month at even, is Jehovah's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the Feast of Unleavened Bread unto Jehovah. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Since Herod was pagan, he wouldn't have celebrated either of these, but he would have celebrated Easter, which at that time followed the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Once Jesus died on the cross and the new covenant began, the Passover was no longer binding, nor any other feasts, circumcisions, or anything else that were strictly for the Jews. However, many Jews still observed many of the old customs after they became Christians. In Galatians chapter 4, verses 8 through 11, howbeit at that time, not knowing God, you were in bondage to them that by nature are no gods. But now that ye have come to know God, or rather to be known by God, how turn ye back again to the weak and beggarly rudiments, whereunto ye desire to be in bondage over again? Ye observe days and months and seasons and years. I am afraid of you, lest by any means I have bestowed labor upon you in vain. In the 8th century, people began to combine their pagan activities with what they thought would fit in with their Christianity. And they came to call the anniversary of the resurrection of Jesus Easter. The earliest Easter eggs were dyed red to represent the blood shed by Jesus. If you look at a calendar today, you see a lot of holidays on it throughout the whole year. People rarely abandon a holiday. They will just add another one. Practically all cultures celebrated the coming of springtime with a holiday already So they tried to update their holiday by modifying it to include the resurrection of Christ. When missionaries went to spread the gospel in pagan areas, they didn't want to alienate the people they were trying to save, so they would sometimes encourage them to Christianize their current rituals. As time goes by, people forget what the original holiday stood for, such as Christmas. It started out as a day for a Roman feast. The Jewish Christians and the Gentiles could not agree on a set date for Easter. Today, in Western countries, we get Easter on the first Sunday following the full moon that comes on or after the vernal equinox, and we use the Gregorian calendar. The Lord's Church does not celebrate Easter. Members of the Lord's Church celebrate the death, burial, and resurrection of our Savior on the first day of every week, as we have been instructed in the New Testament. In Acts 20, verse 7, it says, "And upon the first day of the week, when we were gathered together to break bread, Paul discoursed with them, intending to depart on the morrow, and prolonged his speech until midnight." We must be vigilant that we don't confuse a holiday with a holy day. Should Christians observe certain aspects of Easter or other man-made pagan holidays at home or as individuals? We have to be very careful not to bring in man-made traditions into our worship service. Outside of the church, we see in the Word of God that He makes it a personal choice as long as it doesn't break God's commandments. In 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verses 19 through 22, "For though I was free from all men, I brought myself under bondage to all, that I might gain the more. And to the Jews I became as a Jew, that I might gain Jews. To them that are under the law, as under the law, not being myself under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law. To them that are without law, as without law, not being without law to God, but under law to Christ, that I might gain them that are without law. To the weak I became weak, that I might gain the weak. I became all things to all men, that I may by all means save some." Paul tells us in Colossians chapter 2, verses 16 and 17, "Let no man therefore judge you in meat or in drink, or in respect of a feast day, or a new moon, or a Sabbath day, which are a shadow of the things to come. But the body is Christ's." Paul is letting us know not to judge people because of the customs they keep on a personal level. What is done outside of worship is between them and God. In Romans chapter 14, verse 5, it says, "One man esteemeth one day above another, another esteemeth every day alike. Let each man be fully assured in his own mind." Nowhere are we told to celebrate our own or someone else's birthday, but we are also not told we can't. If you want to color Easter eggs and hide them for personal entertainment, there isn't anything wrong with that. If you want to put up a tree and put lights on it and give presents to each other, there isn't anything wrong with that. There's also nothing wrong with not doing these things either. Out in the parking lot, I wish you a happy Easter. It's a man-made holiday, but there isn't anything wrong with that. If anyone here this evening needs prayers on their behalf, if anyone understands the necessary duty to go to that baptismal in the back here, we're ready for you.